Hey guys, it's Firefly Carrie, and we're back with another episode of Tetris Talk. Last week we talked to Jay, YouTube gamer, about conventions. This week we are going to be talking about something a little more serious. And when I mean serious, I mean serious. This is something near and dear to my heart, and since it is April, that means it is Autism Awareness Month. And Autism Awareness Month it's to show families and people who have autism, families who have to endure autism and have to help their loved ones get through everyday life. That is part of Autism Awareness Month. Now, as most of you may or may not know, my son has autism. And autism is a neurological disorder that impacts motor skills. It impacts their speech. It impacts their way of thinking. They don't think the same as everybody else, which is perfectly fine. My son, to me, is still a perfectly wonderful little 6-year-old. At the same time, we have everyday struggles. And financially, parents who have children with autism have to spend extra for items that their child may need. It is difficult. And when you're having to deal with autism alone as a one-parent household, like ours is, it's even harder. Autism needs to be recognized, and autism doesn't really get that recognition. Several comedians seem to find it funny that children with special needs, or even adults with special needs, are just some kind of material to them. They're just there to be made fun of, or they're there to be able to crack a joke at. No, they're not. That is our lives. That is the way we have to live every single day. There is so many people who don't fully understand what parents have to go through. Most people say, well, you should just discipline your child better. It's not about discipline. It's about finding a sensory-friendly environment for that child. You see a child throw a temper tantrum and covering up their ears, screaming to the top of their lungs, you would probably automatically think, well, why doesn't that parent bust his butt? Guess what? You you could most likely be seeing a child going through an autism meltdown. Well, why do you bring them in public? Because children with autism still need social interaction. Would you lock up your child just because he or she had something wrong that they can't control? No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't do that. So why do you expect parents who have children with disabilities to try to keep them out of the way, to try to keep them hidden from society just because they are not part of society's normal basis? Being normal is overrated anyway. My son, he loves Spider-Man. He's totally obsessed with it, which is perfectly fine with me. He's happy. If I have to buy the same Spider-Man toy 5 different times because he accidentally breaks it, that's fine with me. I don't care. Because if it makes him happy and it keeps him from going into a meltdown. And when I mean a meltdown, I mean my son has gotten so upset over something so small that before he got put on one of his medications, he had blacked his eye 3 times in a year. Now you tell me, as a human being, if that does not send a shock up your spine, that a 4-year-old child got so upset that he blacked his eye 3 times in a row in a year. If it bothers you, you're a human being. If it doesn't bother you, if you're sitting there giggling, you're not a human being. April is Autism Awareness Month. And if you don't know what that means, then you need to look up autism. I will provide links about autism in the description. I promise you that. Some of my family's struggles, partly money. Try having to shed out $200 a month in a special drink that his insurance won't pay for, just to be able to make sure he has the proper nutrition, because he has issues with certain tastes, certain textures. My son can't eat macaroni and cheese anymore since he developed autism. Only reason is because of the texture. It literally bothers him. He'll gag and throw it back up. Yes, I'm getting emotional because this is real life. I know some of you all may be young or anything. If some of you all are still in school, if some of you all are see those special needs kids going down the halls and you quietly snicker at them, don't do it. Why don't you go over there and talk with them? I honestly, before I even had a son with autism, I have a cousin with Angelman syndrome. So from my birth, I've been taught to treat special needs people with respect, with love. And I used to go and talk to special needs people at my school. I used to try to help them out, ask if they needed any help finding a place. Most of the time they would say no, thank you, because they had actually been tricked by several other people. And I would have to show them that I was not trying to trick them. I genuinely wanted to show them that I was there to help. And so, some of their ideas are wild and crazy and amazing. You know, learn to accept people for who they are, especially if they can't change it. Just because someone is different doesn't make them bad. People try to destroy this idea that some people have this idea of autism that, oh, well, this person had autism and he killed a bunch of people. Okay. So why do you have to point out he had autism? And then automatically people become scared of others who have autism. I've had people come up to me and say, well, if you can't handle him, why don't you just send him away to a home or something? I'm not going to send my one and only son away to a place where they're not going to love and care and kiss his knee when he falls down and gets a scrape. They're not going to sit up in the middle of the night with them when he starts screaming bloody murder because the TV accidentally got turned off because it's too dark in there. They're not going to be willing to let him come and crawl up in their bed just to be able to try to get some kind of sleep. No. Struggles happen every single day. A lot of my friends don't truly know everything that goes on when it comes to my son. Sure, they know a couple of different things. They hear a couple things when I'm on TeamSpeak with them. They don't know everything. And it's hard. It gets so hard sometimes that I sit and cry asking, what can I do better? Yes, he's in school. He's in kindergarten. But when other kindergartners are learning how to subtract and add right now, he's still learning how to write his name. They've been working on his name since the beginning of the school year, because he can't even hold a pencil right. I try to help. I try to make sure that he has every tool that he needs. I try to help him and work with him here at the house. And the thing about it is my son may or may not become high functioning, or he may stay the exact same way that he is for the rest of his life. If he does, so be it. I will still be there to take care of him, because that is what a true parent does. They take care of their child, no matter what age they are. The struggle with autism will never be over. A person just can't get cured from autism. There is no quote-unquote cure. But there's not always bad things with autism. Sometimes my son will come up with games on his own, and they're very unique. His mind goes into a different place. He looks at stuff differently than what a normal child would. He has a cousin, perfectly healthy, has nothing wrong with him. He has a cousin who is 10 days younger than him. And my son, he comes up with these games that he tries to get his cousin to play with him, and his cousin is confused about what he wants him to do. Aiden knows exactly what he wants done, and if he comes up with these different ideas, and as soon as Aiden tries to show Evan is confused. Some of my family's been supportive, some of them haven't. Those who haven't, those who just look at him and laugh. No. Those who have been there and have wanted to deal with him, that's who you can count on. But at the same time, even though it's just for a moment, it still means the world. That just in that moment, you was willing to be there. My son is different, yes, but I wouldn't have him any other way. I know this is a serious topic, and it has to be. April is Autism Awareness Month, like I said before, and honestly, autism does not get recognition that much. And it breaks my heart, because I see symptoms in children, and how do you go up and tell a parent that they need to have their child checked for autism? You can't. You have to either find a family member or someone else, someone at the school, and have them talk to the family. I know that when I was first talked to about Aiden, about him having autism, I was reluctant. I was like, no, my son is perfectly fine. And then I started thinking, he was perfectly fine. But he wasn't anymore. Before my son had turned 2, he was able to say all of his colors and count to 10 before he could. He was ahead of everything. And then he had his shots, and it wasn't a week later that he stopped counting. He stopped saying his colors. It wasn't, but probably that was when he was a little bit past 2 years old. And he got diagnosed at 3 with autism. And I'm not going to get into the shots cause autism debate right now, because that's a whole nother can of worms. This can of worms is coming from a mother who deals with autism every single day. Don't crack jokes at people who can't control their actions. Don't crack jokes at the families who maybe you see bring their child out and about. Don't criticize that parent for wanting to have their child have some kind of social interaction. Or maybe that parent has no one to watch that child for them, and they have to bring their child along with them just to get something done. Unless you have dealt with autism personally, you can't imagine what families go through. Yes, you can try. And the best thing for you all to do is to read up on autism. Look for warning signs. If you have a little brother or little sister, no one is safe from autism. No one. Best thing for everybody to do is to learn the early warning signs. One of them is not making eye contact, delayed speech. Like I said, I'm gonna give some links in the description about autism. It's Autism Awareness Month. So if you follow me on Twitter, you're going to be seeing a lot of it. I'm a parent, and I'm a parent who has a child with special needs. I'm not afraid of anyone. I'm not afraid to go that extra mile for my child who might need something. I've went without meals before just so my son could have things that he had to have to deal with his autism. There's many a times I've went without meals before. And I work 2 jobs on top of doing YouTube. I don't really care what people think. Don't get me wrong. I hear snarky comments a lot about my son. And it's funny that people say it's my back and they won't say it to my face. Because if they said it to my face, they would probably not be standing. My son is wonderful. Every child with autism is wonderful. So I want you all to take it upon yourselves to look into autism, please. April is Autism Awareness. You go find someone that has autism. Go up to them. Tell them that they are special, that they are wonderful. Boost their day, boost their family's day. If the person with autism or any child or anyone with special needs, go up to them. Tell them that they are wonderful just the way they are. That is what I want you to do. That is what you should do. So, I know I got emotional, but as I said, this is near and dear to my heart. I want everybody to be good, stay safe, but always have fun. And I'll catch you guys in the next Tetris Talk. Bye.